I just want to go back because in the last hour, we were talking about the implications of the Republican tax cuts, and we're already witnessing the real usage of those tax dollars by corporations that got all those huge tax breaks. And really, this is no surprise. I mean, Gary Cohn saw it when he went to some business conference, asked all the CEOs to raise their hands, who's going to take their money and reinvest in their business or hire more people. And all the CEOs had their hands down. And he said, where is all the hands? And everybody just laughed because they all knew what they were going to do with the money. They were going to pocket it. Right. And the way they ended up pocketing it was through massive stock buyback programs and, shareholder bonuses, et cetera, et cetera. And but one of the things that's really interesting is that we heard quite a bit from the Republicans that they were going to run on this in 2018. Like this was going to be the killer app, if you will, for the 2018 elections. And it seems like not so much.
No, it isn't. I mean, I have to say that, I thought that they'd be, talking up the economy as being hugely improved and everything's, sort of a morning in America kind of thing. And with some justification, not that Trump has had anything to do with it, but the economy has been improved after a long, long climb out of the worst.
Let me just challenge that assessment in one way. I think that's true, broadly speaking. But I have a feeling what the Republicans have realized is that for the average Republican voter, things are probably more or less the same or on the same trajectory they were over the past year or two. I mean, I think we've seen some big gains at the lower income spectrum. But I have a feeling that your average Republican voter is like not seeing a dramatic difference in their in the economy. They may feel a little bit better about it, but I have a feeling that that the Republicans found out like this wasn't going to be that motivating for them because they're not seeing a huge difference.
Well, I think you may be right, because if we're judging from what we're starting to see, I mean, we're starting to see ads and various, strategic sort of messaging coming out of the Republicans for the 2018 campaign. And we're not seeing them taking credit for a great economy. We're not seeing that they're saying, look how, how much better things are. You're richer, morning in America kind of stuff. They are hardcore culture war. It is so far, and maybe it's just too early to tell, but I'm not seeing this. In fact, there's one ad. It's called Hoosiers for Rokita. It's for an Indiana Republican running. I can't remember what district it was, but his name is Rokita, Rokita. And it's very much like those Dana Lash NRA videos about how the liberals, the resistance, they're tearing up our streets. It's American carnage is what they're running on. And they're saying, I support pro-life, I support guns, I support Trump. And that's the message that he's putting out in that ad, and he's not the only one. So I think it's going to be hardcore culture war. And we know for a fact that Trump himself has said that. Now, he'll go out and he'll talk about how, terrific everything is. He would even if it wasn't. But he's also he has said that they're looking for, in fact, his strategists have said they're looking for those openings, those culture war openings like the NFL thing, the taking a knee thing, so that they can use those to get their people out. And I think that's what they're banking on. It's going to be a bloody, ugly, horrible campaign on their part. And, I don't know what the Democrats are answering with, but so far, if the off-year elections are any guide, they're winning. So, if these people have been using these kinds of messages, so far it's not working very well for them because the Democrats are doing much better. And I don't see the Democrats. They have every right to go full-bore culture war on this, but I don't think they're going to do it. They may go anti-gun. There'll certainly be, plenty of strong messaging from the Democrats, but it's not going to be like this. This is just really ugly, revolutionary kind of stuff. It's these black and white ads, really, really, like they used to do with the Osama bin Laden stuff back during the 2000s when we were in the midst of the, the war on terrorism. So This is going to be a very interesting thing, and I do not see them using this. I think you must be right here. What they're seeing is that people don't care about that. They don't feel it. It's not really, meaningful for them as a message to get out and vote.
I mean, and this is, when we see ads like that, we're seeing a Republican Party that is basically saying, like, we're afraid our base isn't even going to come out. And, it's interesting, on this week's episode, of course, we're talking to, one of the authors of a research paper, which suggests that a big part of the resistance is, the so-called resistance, as it were, is middle-aged women in, the Midwest and rural areas, sometimes in suburban areas, actually, more than anywhere else, college-educated, who have become activated. And it is an interesting story about just what's happening on the ground outside of the establishment of the Democratic Party, but also sort of like outside of the spectrum of an ideological rift within the party. I mean, there's clearly an outsider-insider rift, but it is interesting to hear that it's not as ideological. And on some level, I think the Republicans are sort of seeing this. They can't quite figure out how to reach these people. And I think the problem is that Donald Trump has made them all toxic. And so their only opportunity is to sort of bathe in that toxic stew and hope everything works out all right. I suspect that they will find that it won't. And part of that is the constant drumbeat of the corruption that seems to be like oozing out of every pore of the White House, it's the administration and the run up to it. Paul Manafort's court date been set now for the first week or second week of September. It's going to be interesting to see if he makes it. Let's take a break. When we come back, Digby, let's start with Kushner and just work our way through the administration with the legal problems they seem to be mounting